Play.
And welcome to Talking Tennis. It's WTA Weekly. And what a week it's been on the WTA. And guess what? It's everyone's favorite genre. It's a crossover episode with our good friend Mario. How are you doing?
Hi, it's have to say that this week I'm doing quite fine. So thank you for asking. I'm
Good.
okay.
That's good. That's good to hear. Well, look, audience, you saw what is soon to be an out-of-date power ranking for Wimbledon on the screen, sort of part one, and also a prediction from Ghosty, which, to be honest, I don't think is that crazy. I could totally see Peyton Stearns winning Berlin, and I'm not just pandering. I genuinely think that could happen. Why not, Mario? It's the WTA.
No, yeah, I'm really happy, to be honest, to take part once to the WTA Weekly, since yesterday I was not there for the ATP, but I'm happy because as I was saying before to John, I really like grass court tennis when it comes to the WTA Tour. We've seen a lot of entertaining season in the last years. So yeah, really happy to take part in this conversation.
And I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you as well. So we've got probably a little bit to talk about. I would say we've had 2 grass court tournaments on the main WTA tour so far. Obviously, we had the ITF W100 in Surbiton the week before. Not massively relevant because there was no one really in the top 100 there, I don't think. But Nottingham and Rosmalen produced some interesting champions. Being biased as a British fan, obviously one caught my attention more than the other. But I also think that actually I was kind of pleased to see kind of the reaction on Twitter of seeing that all British final in Nottingham being very well received internationally. I don't know whether it's because Britain doesn't have that many strong tennis players out there. We have Emma Raducanu, who is out at the minute. Is going to have to climb her way back into the top 100 now. I think it was between 2 players who obviously they were in their first WTA final. Jodie Burrage and Katie Boulter. Katie Boulter solidifying herself not only in the top 100 but also as the British number 1 by winning Nottingham. What did you catch any of that tournament, Mario? What were your thoughts on it?
No, yeah, I mean, when I saw what the final was, I was kind of expecting Katie Boulter to win it. I think that between the 2 players, really? She's more ready to break through into that circle of the players going around the main tour events, but we also saw her doing very good things also last year's. And yeah, I mean, it's not that I saw some stats that she hasn't beaten very high ranked players, because I think that Burrage was the highest ranked player she beat en route to the title. But it's still a very good sign, because the grass court season is plays a little bit different than the rest of the year. There are other sometimes there's kind of another logic, because you have to be really able to adapt well to the court and to adapt fast to them, because it's only 5 weeks. But let's say 3 weeks, because not even counting Wimbledon, because Wimbledon is like the main event. You have to be ready for that. So it's 3 weeks of preparation. And having shown that you feel comfortable, you also are able to play well in your first WTA final, which is not easy at all, despite of who the opponent is, and because of all the circumstances, and also doing it feeling a little bit the pressures also of being one of the British tennis players that this year can grab some results. And so I had very good indication, because she has I mean, weapons from the baseline that can be very dangerous to on these courts, for the way she plays, in my opinion, especially the forehand. I have to say that I was looking forward to see her back on the grass, when I was thinking about the players that could have been a threat. And yeah, I mean, she hasn't disappointed at all, and I think that she's one of those players who already was showing that could have gained some position in the ranking, and it's all a benefit for her, for British tennis, all other things, for tennis in general, I mean.
Yeah, and Katie Boulter, you know, she's been on this path before. She's had some good runs at Wimbledon. She ends up running to some top players. You mentioned she had a good Wimbledon last year. She beat Karolina Pliskova in round 2. That was a good win, given that Pliskova was defending finalist. Just seemed to not quite have. I don't know what, I can't remember what happened against Harmony Tan, but it wasn't a great match. 6-1, 6-1 to Tan. But Boulter's been on this path before, as I said, like before COVID. I think before injury, she looked like she got to the top 100 before, and then she was set back by quite a serious injury. So I think it's great for her to kind of confirm herself in that mix. So it should be I think we're going to see some good things. I think she's guaranteed herself a wild card for Wimbledon. And I will wild card for Wimbledon. And I think number one, now being in the top 100, I can't see a scenario where she wouldn't get it. She's been quite heavily promoted now. I'm interested to see how she bounces back in Birmingham. She's got potentially a draw that could get her quite deep, quarterfinals, maybe in semi-finals. I mean, it's hard to say with Wimbledon itself, because obviously that she could draw. She could end up drawing Sabalenka or Rybakina in round 1. You can't really predict how far she's going to get at Wimbledon, but she's got a good chance of making a good fight of it over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no. Wanted also to say that very nice things saw during the wall event in Nottingham, because we were talking about this match. We were talking about Boulter especially, but I think that this has been a really enjoyable first week on grass, with some very nice matches. We also saw. I mean, maybe there's going to be time, but I wanted also to mention Cornet playing well, probably for one of the. I mean, it's been a difficult season for her. We don't know if it's going to be the last one, and it's also a good sign, because she is one of the players that, coming on grass, she has the experience that is required to do some things and cause some, I don't know, maybe some upsets. It's always interesting for me when we head into the new surface, watching the second week of the tournaments, to try to understand something that could happen in the big event next. I think that we are going to, at least there's not going to be some surprise. I think that we're going to see both Boulter and Burrage in Wimbledon with wildcards. I don't think that I think that they will both have that. And it's been, in my opinion, it's been a very nice week to start this grass season. both events. But talking about this one, yeah, I've enjoyed a lot of things.
Yeah, it's one of those things, I actually, when I was deciding which tournaments I was going to visit in person in Britain, I was kind of I was torn between Nottingham and Birmingham. I ended up having to choose Birmingham because life intervened, and I had a very important event on the weekend of Nottingham semi-finals and final that meant I couldn't attend. So it ended up being having my hand forced, but I was watching it going, I wish I was there. As a British fan, seeing British players win every day, this is unusual in tennis, in terms of British tennis history. And so, but also that, like, everyone was saying what a great event it was. And also, and so I'm like, I'm curious to go next year and see what sort of the experience as a fan is going to be like going there. Birmingham's pretty good. I'm going to be there this week, but I definitely want to go visit, and not least because also third reason, just the tournament's now run by Laura Robson, who 10 years ago was one of my favourite players on tour, partly because she's British, but I definitely think that any British viewers watching definitely consider going for a visit. If you're not from Britain but can't make Wimbledon but can get here a little bit before, then great. I just wanted to also mention Cornet as well. Come off the back of what you said. I agree. It's great to see her play well again. I would be honest. When I saw the semi-final lineup, I thought Cornet's winning this. It's not that I didn't have faith in Burrage or Boulter or Watson even, because Watson's a multiple 250 champion. But I just thought this is Cornet on grass, and she's a much higher ranked player out compared to the others. I thought she'd be the favourite, but home advantage was what played out in the end.
No, yeah. At some point, I had kind of the same feeling, but I remember very well last year's grass season, and these British players. It's not that much of a surprise, in my opinion, that they are doing well. Probably we wouldn't have expected this final in this event, but it's not that much a surprise, because even last year we had some signs. Yeah, Boulter played really well, but even from Jodie Burrage we had some good matches, good performances, and gaining experience on grass, playing maybe even I think that not I think for sure they played a good number of matches. They know how things plays. Of course, playing at home sometimes it cannot be an advantage. In this case, I think that yes, for sure it helps you. I didn't see this exact final coming, but talking right now and thinking back last year, I don't see that as an overwhelming surprise, at least in Nottingham. I mean, not expecting this in the next weeks, but I think that these players already proved that they belong to the main tour, talking when it comes to grass court tennis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And they probably have a home advantage because they're probably used to growing up playing on grass. I think only a few other countries could say that. Germany, maybe. But yeah, I agree. I think the Brits are going to be a force at Wimbledon, at least to provide some early round shocks. And hey, that's what the press has enjoyed over the last few years. But maybe we'll get some. These players aren't exactly past it. They're still young. They're still in the mid-20s. Their careers are about to peak. Probably we could see them moving up the rankings. I think as the grass court season progresses, the story is going to move away from the Brits. but we'll have to see how it goes. Ghost has asked the question, did Heather Watson win the doubles match? She was playing with Harriet Dart. No, she did not. They lost in a match tiebreak in the final to a Norwegian and Estonian pair whose names I don't remember off the top of my head. But I hadn't heard of it. I think I'd heard a couple of them, one of them before. But yeah. So unfortunately, it wasn't an all British success across the board in Nottingham in all the events. But let's see, they're going to keep trying. Interestingly now, bit of a stat for you. In terms of like the main events of Wimbledon, women's doubles is the one where actually Brits have been waiting for longest for a winner now. Men's singles, Andy Murray, 2013. We had obviously Virginia Wade winning Wimbledon in 1977, which was not, I know there was a lot of talk about it being the first all British final since 1977. That wasn't Wimbledon. That was a match in San Francisco. Mixed doubles, obviously, that was won last year by Neil Skupski alongside American Desiree Kravchik. And the men's doubles was won by Johnny Murray alongside his partner Freddie Nielsen in 2012. Where am I going with this? The last time we had British champions in the women's doubles at Wimbledon was 1956. That is how long Britain's been waiting for a women's doubles champion. I don't know why I'm on that tangent, but maybe with players like Barton Nichols, Watson and Dart, pretty good doubles players, maybe was like start laying the foundation for some progress in that area. But I just wanted to throw that sort of random stat, as I like to do every now and again. The Italians have been waiting a far shorter time.
Yeah, it depends. We have had, talking about female players, we had a very successful recent past, talking about early 2010, 2015, around those years. So yeah.
With Irani and Vinci. And
Irani
well.
Vinci won in Wimbledon, in 2014, and completed them. That was very good. Italian players usually struggled in Wimbledon in the past, but in the last years something has happened in the men's side with, of course, Berrettini 2021, but even last year there was Sinner in the quarterfinal. The women's, the only one was Chiavone who reached the quarterfinal. In my opinion, as I remember,
Georgie got to the quarterfinals as well. But
in 2018, you're right. She lost to Serena.
Yeah.
And
we might be coming back to Camilla Giorgi a little bit later in the show, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure.
But maybe we'll hit pause on the British tennis point now, and let's hop over to the Netherlands. To Den Bosch or Rosmalen. I'm not entirely sure what the actual place is because I keep hearing it called different things. That was that finished, and that ended up finishing up with two finals of the same nationality, but this time an all-Russian final between Kudermetova, who, had she won the title, would have returned to the top 10, but she lost to Ekaterina Alexandrova, which is not a massive surprise. We know Alexandrova can spring these upsets.
Second in a row there.
Right, is she defending champion?
Yeah, she was the defending champion, and she defended the crown. Last year she got an amazing win against Sabalenka. This one was really struggled, but a very nice one, fourth career title. For both it was the sixth final, but Kudermetova has won only once, while Alexandrova is now 4-2 in the record. Alexandrova is that kind of player who's able to bring her tennis pretty much everywhere. You can see her creating some issues here and there, even in the big events against some great players, because she has she has really good baseline shots, both forehand and the backhand. So it's not that easy to find her weakness when you're not playing at a very high level. Sometimes she can be a little bit erratic, but in general, I feel that she is one of the probably most underrated players in overall tennis fans' judgment. Because probably she's not a main personality, but when it comes to results, she's been pretty consistent in the last 5-6 years. So yeah, not even a big surprise in my opinion that she won the final against Kudermetova. Probably it was not a surprise at all. Yeah, she can play good tennis on grass because she's able to open the angles very well, and then it's difficult to defend the court for the opponent. And so yeah, one also I judge her as yeah, a good player to watch. I like her also to watch. I enjoyed her in the last year. So yeah, definitely a threat everywhere, in my opinion.
But potentially with her game, given it's quite, she does tend to like to try and really hit that ball. She's done very well in Madrid over the years. She does like it when the ball's flying a bit. I can see why she's comfortable on grass. I could see a scenario where she's a bad draw for someone at Wimbledon. But I would say there's one thing. Why do you think it is that she's never got past the third round of a major? Because she's always been one match short of a big win. She's been one match short of a second week of a major several times. She got to the semis of Madrid. She lost a 500 final to Kontaveit in St. Petersburg. I think it was definitely in Russia. What is it that stopped her from that extra step? Is it bad draws or is it something else?
I mean, when it happens a lot of times, you can see that it's only bad draws, in my opinion, because you play a lot of different opponents with different with different tennis style, and in my opinion, her tennis can be a little bit one-dimensional. When she's not really able to find solutions. Sometimes, for example, in big matches, you can't only play your game, and you also have to change something and to have some kind of problem solving. And maybe sometimes she's not really been able to find a solution at the right time. To create the issue against a very top player, or even when creating the issues not in the big moment of the match. I remember her losing a lot of close battles, even in these big events. I mean, you don't see it because she's not a player who likes to express a lot. But for sure, she's she is a girl that feels a lot. Also, in my opinion, the occasion, sometimes even the final. I mean, she has a positive record in the final, in finals 4-2. But I remember a final she lost to Kontaveit. You probably mentioned there in St. Petersburg.
Yeah,
you mentioned that final before, and she had the match on her racket a lot of times. Despite that was the Kontaveit, the very, very big version of Kontaveit in 2021. But she is an example. I remember her sometimes throwing a little bit away the match. Then of course things can happen, can change, because we saw with Haddad Maia that she never was in the round 3 of a slam, and then suddenly she went in the semi-final and actually played a very good match against Swiatek. So not really that far away from thinking about the final. So we know that things can change quickly, but in my opinion, she lacks a little bit of of that problem solving quality that you need to have against some kind of players, because tennis wise she has a lot of good qualities, but sometimes she can for example, I'm thinking about Georgie as another example of a player who in my opinion lacks a little bit of the ability to change things during the match. That kind of issue that sometimes can can let you down in some matches and in some moments of your career.
I mean, that's very interesting. So yeah, I would agree with you. It's probably why we haven't seen Alexandrova make some breakthrough. Maybe this Wimbledon's going to be it. I do have to say, in your description of it, your description there, I did almost get a bit lost and wonder whether you would talk about Alexandrova or Kudermetova, because it could probably apply to her as well. What you were saying about her game being a little bit one-dimensional, lacking a little bit of a plan B at times as well. But it was a very well fought match. Obviously, Kudermetova is still like one of that group of players who are on the verge of the top 10. And maybe while we're talking about the top 10, we should move to discussing the tournaments that are happening this week, because there's a big 500 happening in Berlin. And when I say big, I mean that only 7 out of the top 10 of the tour are there. The only players missing are Swiatek, Pegula, and Haddad Maia, who will be dropping out of the top 10 because of the points she's losing as a result. So top 10's up for grabs. You've got Kasatkina, Krejcikova, Kudermetova, and even as an outsider, Samsonova in with a chance of getting it. But yes, and actually, John is on his way to Berlin right now to cover it on the ground. So he's going to be right in the thick of the action in Berlin. But yeah, this Berlin tournament looks to be an absolute blockbuster, doesn't it, Mario?
Yeah, and Pegula missing an event is a shocker. No, but talking seriously about the WTA 500, of course it's super interesting every time they happen. I don't know if probably something can make them different to avoid these 500 that are basically the same thing as the 1000 event, but for example, we saw a lot of examples even in Stuttgart. The draw was super packed, and a lot of time it happens on the female side, because they usually make 500 and 250 in the same week. And so usually these draws are really stacked, but of course it's going to be very interesting, because with the fact that we have no 1000 event on grass, this will give us a lot of good indications for what could happen in Wimbledon. Berlin champions have always in the last years done good things than in London, because even in 2021 Samsonova was the big surprise in Berlin, but then she reached the round 4 in Wimbledon last year with Jabeur, the champion, and then finally in Wimbledon, very close to winning it. And of course, a lot of I'm very super interested to see Rybakina playing on grass for the first time since the Wimbledon title. And so I think that it's pretty close in the power ranking, but right now, having not seen these girls already playing their matches in Berlin and on grass, I think that Rybakina probably enters the grass season as the number 1 in these power rankings, because of the fact that of her serve, but she's also a really good mover for how she is dull, but she moves really well. Yeah, I think that one thing about Rybakina that goes under the radar, and I think that she's really good with the hand, with the slide, changing directions. She's really good in doing this. And so probably if I have to pick one player, she's the one I'm most interested the most in watching her playing, because of all what happened in Wimbledon was still a little bit a surprise, even if we already knew her qualities. But and yeah, also the fact that she comes here as the world number 3, despite not having the Wimbledon points, speaks a lot about how dangerous she is. Yeah. And then also probably a lot of things to see about Sabalenka, because last year was a particular grass season because of not playing Wimbledon. So, I mean, last year she played Wimbledon, she was in the semis. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, for all the players, because these are literally two big events, talking about the 500. And then we're going into the slam, so it's all to see this week, and it's fun to see.
Yeah, it is. I think, you know, John's got an amazing gig. He's going to be right there. He's going to be reporting for us what's going on in Berlin. Hopefully, get to talk to some of these players. I completely agree with you about the players to watch being Rybakina and Sabalenka. For me, they are the top 2 favorites for, well, not only the Berlin title, but Wimbledon. And I really hope they're in opposite halves of the draw at Wimbledon, because obviously Rybakina is not going to be top 2. Sabalenka, that's locked down.
Yeah.
I want Rybakina to be in Świątek's half. I know that probably sounds weird coming from me, but I don't have great expectations of Świątek at Wimbledon. And given Rybakina's kind of had her number recently, that's going to just be emphasized on grass. So a Rybakina Sabalenka potential head showdown could be interesting, but we could get that in Berlin. What you're saying is, I completely agree. That's why they're the top 2 in my power rankings, because, you know, Sabalenka on grass was only stopped by Pliskova on a very good day the last time she played at Wimbledon, and with Rybakina, she's the defending champion. So obviously we're trying to see if they're picking back up kind of where they left off. Although I know Sabalenka played grass last year, she wasn't having a great year. She, as you said, lost to Alexandrova in the Rosmalen final last year. Here's my very long-winded question for you. Do you think how likely do you think it is going to be a Sabalenka Rybakina final 1v2 in Berlin?
Oh, yeah, for sure. This season has taught us that these 2 players, alongside with Świątek, have been really consistent in basically all the big events, and with big I mean all the events but the 250. They've really been consistent on hard courts and even on clay. They won basically all the big clay court titles. I want to see Jabeur, and I think that she can be a threat if she is in form. For example, to Sabalenka, I think they are the same side. No,
I thought Jabeur's in the Rybakina side.
She's in the Rybakina side.
So
it's basically the same.
Yeah, it's easy to meet in the semis.
Talking about how she can be a threat. Of course she can be, and especially on this surface, with a lower ball bounce for players like Sabalenka and Rybakina can be dangerous at times to play them. Given also the fact that this is the first week on grass for both these two players, I can expect them to be in the final, but I won't be really, really shocked if they put in a bad day here or in the second round in the quarters. I'm open to the idea that this can happen during this week. Let's see that if I have to make a prediction, I'm going to tell you that probably one of them reaches the final, the other not.
I think that's a reasonable prediction, to be honest. I would probably agree. I think there's plenty of upset potential in there. I know when I was filling my draw out, I was like, I think Jabeur and Rybakina are going to play in the semis. And I was really debating as to whether I thought that Jabeur might be able to take revenge for that Wimbledon final loss. I mean, she was very close to winning that match. It was a pretty good contest. If things had fallen differently, she probably could have won it. Maybe she will do it. I mean, I've not watched much of Berlin because I've tended to watch the British grass court events. You probably watched it a little bit over the last couple of years. Are there any would you say Berlin plays similar to Wimbledon, maybe slightly different? I know Halle, only Roger Federer has really managed to get a good warm-up out of there. But as you were saying, Berlin seems to provide some good results for the champions coming out of it, Samsonova and Jabeur.
Talking honestly, I think that Halle plays super, super, super fast. And a lot faster than the Queen's Club grass and even the Wimbledon one. But having watched Berlin, I think that it's not that much different. I think that it is a good warm-up event for the players. Especially in the women's side, with probably if it's a little bit faster or not, it doesn't really change that much. But the most important thing is that the player are used on the court to the ball bounce, and I think that in Berlin a good thing is that the balls play really similar, and because the balls are the thing that makes the difference the most in terms of the conditions. I think that it's a good warm-up event, as well as the Bad Homburg tournament. That one we are going to see Świątek in that one.
Yes, next week. Yeah,
and I think that that is also quite a good event to prepare the Wimbledon 2 weeks, because we saw even last year, for example, Halep chose Bad Homburg and then played well in Wimbledon, as well as Kerber. I think that these tournaments are really, really good preparation for Wimbledon. Halle plays in the men's side plays a little bit different, in my opinion. It's probably a little bit too fast even for being grass.
right.
But there's also have to be said that there are also some coincidences that sometimes prevent a player to be able to perform well even in Wimbledon. For example, I have to say Federer is out of this world. But talking about Hurkacz, when you go to Wimbledon and play Davidovich Fokina, it's not the biggest surprise in the world that you lose in 5 sets that match, knowing about the two players. So I think that most important thing about the not too fast, Ghosty. I wasn't saying that in a bad way. I was just comparing.
It's too fast to be good preparation for Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that most important thing is to adapt well to the movement, which is different to the clay court. I think, for example, that Jabeur is one of the players who makes this in the most natural way, to make the transition from the clay to the grass.
Agreed.
But yeah, I think that these top players should be able to perform well on grass. I see no reason for them to do well. For Sabalenka, the only thing is that the serve going to work well. If not, it's going to be difficult. But given how the thing has gone this year, I think that she's going, even the serve, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when we do the preview episode for Wimbledon, when we know the draw, we know the drill, the final power rankings will be out. I mean, I've still got to update my spreadsheet to calculate them based on the results from the last few days. But actually, what were you saw at the beginning of the video? Did you have any major question marks about anything in the power ranking I put out? Just being sort of self-indulgent here. I know we already agree on 1 and 2, Rybakina and Sabalenka. I don't know if you agree with the order, but we agree that they're the top 2. But did you have any thoughts? So like, oh, that was interesting.
Venus.
Venus Williams. No, she's not in the power ranking. That's
No.
Even despite her result today, which we will get to.
No, I mean, in my power ranking, as for now, as I've already said, I am first one is Rybakina, in my opinion, and second one is Sabalenka. I still think that I mean, I can't put probably I mean, have to see how Jabeur is this week, but probably Jabeur Swiatek can fight for the third place. Probably given the fact that Jabeur has reached the final last year, probably third place for her and fourth for Iga. But I don't want to count Iga out, because I don't think that she has not the ability to adapt well and to play well on grass. Last year, for example, she was also a bit, in my opinion, a little bit gassed going into Wimbledon. After all that run, those wins, and I mean, she won the French Open this year, but it's not the same thing. And also, I mean, she's been one set away from the quarterfinals in 2021. So, yeah, I think that this should be, in my opinion, the top 4 in the power ranking, and then there are some players who can be in the speech. For example, since she's been so young, Coco Gauff has played well in Wimbledon. I know that she's not living her best season so far, but I don't know, sometimes you go into a place and some memories are unlocked and you start to play better. There are some players I'm not counting out. Just for example, when I'm thinking when there was Angelique Kerber, she could be number 40 but in the world, but she was in the top 10 of the power ranking because of quality, experience, the ability to play very well with the lower ball bounce of the grass court. For example, there is Kvitova. I want to see her, because on clay she wasn't really in shape, but why not? She can be dangerous if she finds some form.
Well, she had a very good start today because she beat Pliskova in straight sets. And I was wondering how that one was going to go, because I wasn't sure how fit Kvitova was. The fact that she came out there is quite interesting. I think a lot of all the names you listed are on my power ranking. I put Kvitova at number 10 because I wasn't sure about her fitness. I put Goff at number 8. I was in the same position as you, like wondering which way to put around Swiatek and Jabeur, and then I thought Mukova has to be in the mix. She
Mukova
loves
has to be in the mix.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't know. I heard some a little bit worrying, but
okay. Well, she's not playing at the minute, so
no. I think that this week. You mean in this week?
Yeah, this week. Yeah.
Okay. No, I got scared about Wimbledon.
No. She's no bad news about Wimbledon yet. We're fine.
Okay. No, definitely she can play amazing. Mukova has been. We haven't talked about that, but going back to talk about Mukova in general, I've been super happy to watch her at that level at the French Open. A pleasure for me to watch her play her tennis. She's been twice in the quarterfinals, so Mukova
at Wimbledon.
Yeah, Mukova. The only question mark is always about the fitness, because when she is okay physically, she can be there in the mix, of course, to win this title, especially in these surfaces like clay and grass, that are probably the two surfaces that have the most. Seems like these natural talented players can be usually very good on both on clay and grass. So
very similar to Jabeur in many ways.
Yeah.
They both like to play with a lot of variety, and they're both comfortable across both surfaces. Mukova's currently ranked at 16. Obviously, this week we'll decide the Wimbledon seeds. So I've actually put a tweet out about this. Like all the repercussions. So your top 8 seeds are kind of confirmed. It depends on what order they're going to be in. Mukova's currently ranked 16. So on course to be 16th seed at Wimbledon, which will probably please anyone ranked above her. They can't run into her before the second week. The one thing that would stop her being seeded 16th at Wimbledon is if Victoria Azarenka wins Berlin. If Victoria Azarenka wins Berlin, she'll jump into 16 ahead of Mukova and displace Mukova, making her maybe a slightly more dangerous.
Yeah, but I don't think this is.
But I don't think that's happening.
I don't think so. Yeah, all the due respect, of course, but I don't think it's happening. Given what I watched lately.
What from Azarenka?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I was slightly optimistic because I thought she had some decent grass court pedigree, but you're right. Like, she's kind of patchy at the minute. I had her as like a watch out for her, maybe at watch out for her. But let's see. She's got Sasnovich tomorrow in her opening round. That's going to be a tough battle. All Belarusian power player and Sasnovich. That's going to be tricky on grass.
Yeah.
Dark horse for me. Actually, for Wimbledon on this topic, Ostapenko. Ostapenko on grass can be very dangerous unless she's having a bad day.
Yeah, I mean, she can easily blow you out of the court if she is in a good day. But I think on all surfaces, all the courts in the world, she is able to do that. But yeah, she can really do well on grass. I think that the only thing that I will never forgive Ostapenko is that she never really stepped up with the serve. And this could have been the final step for her to be to always be in the mix for these top titles, and especially on grass, where with her shots and having a solid serve, she could have been a super difficult player to stop.
Yeah, exactly. So, but hey, Ostapenko clearly won Roland Garros at age 20, although she was 19 for most of that tournament, and clearly decided, well, it works. I don't see why I need to change. So that's very much her attitude. Ostapenko is the second seed in Birmingham, which is the other WTA Tour event happening. Top seed is Barbora Krejcikova. But I think it's time we talk about what the chat and what everyone wants us to talk about. We're 50 minutes in. I'm sorry you've had to wait. Guys, Venus Williams just beat Camila Giorgi in 3 tough sets.
And more than 3 hours.
This champion doesn't know when to stop doing champion things.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to watch. You are 43. You have won a lot of things on the tennis court, in singles, doubles, gold medals, Wimbledon titles, and you are there at 43 to play with some knee pain and fight for that single win, the first round of a 250 against Giorgi for more than 3 hours. I love to see these things because it's giving so much passion, so dedication to the game. It's wow. It's
I think she said after her match, she hit 120 miles an hour serve for the first time in a while, and she was like, and her reaction was, "I've missed you." No, she seems to be finding the best tennis again.
Yeah, she's also a nice character, have to say, and it's also play a role. But despite everything, she literally turned 43 2 days ago, and she's here fighting for her life in a match that won't change anything in her career. Talking about the titles, the trophies, and who knows? But it shouldn't be. And she's there giving all this passion, and you feel it. You feel it, and the way she fights. And not many players would be able to do this from the level point of view, and from also, I'd say, also a physical point of view, because yes, she had the knee issues, but you can see that she worked really hard to be here in this position, and also mentally, and it's been great to see.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm excited to see what could happen. I'm seeing chat speculation that Serena and Venus might be playing doubles at Wimbledon. I want to squash that because Serena's pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. I know she won Australian Open while pregnant. She was not as far along as she is now.
Yeah.
And also much younger. Yeah, but going back to, it was a fantastic win for Venus. She competed with a very, very good grass court player, Giorgi, quarterfinals at Wimbledon. I think she's been there twice, actually. Just the once. Okay. She, she competed with Giorgi's power, grass court prowess. I was winning. Yes, there you go. That's the quote I just shared. I don't know whether I saw it on Twitter or whether Jamie shared it in a chat before. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great moment. Let's see how much she's got left for her next match, because, well, it's either going to be against
Noskova or
Ostapenko. That's a tough match, whoever it is.
Yeah, I really hope that the knee thing is not super serious, that she's going to be able to stay here, to stay on court for the next match. I don't know. I know that probably I'm pessimist, but I am a little bit worried for that knee. So let's see. Yeah. I want to celebrate this win, and that's it, and let's see what happens.
It's going to be a great moment for her to say, hey, 43, I can still compete with the best.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's good things to see. I'm excited to see what she can produce over the next few weeks. She's going to want to come back to Wimbledon, and maybe she's aiming for that 6th Wimbledon singles title. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think Birmingham potentially could get a little overshadowed by Berlin, but there's still some very, very good players in the field. and some interesting stories to come out of that. Obviously, the Brits are going to be involved, so selfishly, I'm interested in that. But you've still got, as I said, Krejcikova, Ostapenko in there. You've got Kostyuk playing. You've got the Brits. You've got Noskova. I'm very interested to see what Noskova can produce, because there's an outside chance she could snatch a Wimbledon seeding if she wins it, which would be good for her age. But that's a very sort of outside possibility. I think there's going to be some good tennis happening in Birmingham.
No, that's for sure. Even because I think that it's as a tournament. It should be interesting to watch, because even the top seeds, I know Krejcikova is not really in an amazing form right now. I don't know, that maybe she has improved the condition these weeks, and so Ostapenko, we know that she can be a little bit unpredictable. And so I think that even from these first rounds, it's really, really interesting to see, even because, for example, Ostapenko hasn't got an easy first opponent, because playing Noskova, and I think that Noskova, I know that with young players, it's difficult to have them already doing well on this grass court, but I think that Noskova has the game to be a good grass court player in general. So yeah, I'm really interested in this event, in both, because for different reasons, but also, for example, it's going to be interesting to watch how well also players who did well last week are going to do in Birmingham, for example.
Really unfortunate draw in many ways that Dart and Burrage have got each other in round one, given they both kind of looking good from, well, Dart got to the quarters, but she was playing pretty well, and unfortunate to run into Boulter, the eventual champion. Burrage obviously being in the final. Obviously, it's great to guarantee at least a British win, but also for both of them, given how they're playing, they probably would have hoped that they weren't going to run into someone who was feeling good on grass at the minute.
Yeah, no, of course, but I don't think that one of them is happy about the draw. That's also it also shows the importance to host tournaments in the country. I mean, I can speak, for example, for Italy. It's not difficult, especially on the men's side, for Italian players to gain experience and to play at home, which is more comfortable, and to climb up the ranking. In fact, we are watching right now a lot of Italian players ranked in the top 200, for example, especially in the men's side. And England British tennis is I mean, a bit lucky in this part of the year, but not a lot probably in general, because it's all in these weeks in this grass court swing. For example, in Italy, you grow up on clay, and clay is a surface that if you learn very, very well to play on clay, then you feel comfortable in, I mean, 35-40% of the year, even 50% if you play, for example, at challenger level. And so you can choose when you're going to play. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, I mean, it's very good that these young British players have the opportunity to put themselves against the biggest in the world.
Let's go on a slight tangent here, actually, because I've talked a lot about British tennis, and I'd love to talk for 5 minutes about Italian tennis. I don't know whether you've spoken much on the topic before. You probably have. I don't know whether you have on the channel or not. But I think on the men's side, it's surely inevitable that you're going to have a men's champion from Italy winning Rome, either Sinner or Musetti at some point in the next 10 years. Maybe even Luca Nardi, if he turns out to be as good as everyone says he is. And my other question would be, you've got a lot of talent in the women's side. Like if you look at sort of the top 50, top 60 range, you've got players like Cotoretto, Paolini. There's another name that's escaping me. Georgie obviously is in the mix, but she's kind of starting to age out a bit. Bronzetti, that was the other one. You've got these names that are sort of in the mix, and I feel like they're pushing for a breakthrough. I mean, Cotoretto and Paolini have just debuted, could be about to debut in the top 40, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, only I have a lot of hopes in Cotoretto. Only bad thing about her is she has always some kind of little injury here and there, and this is pretty sad because even at 22 she already had a knee surgery that prevented her to play for like 8-9 months when she was on the verge to break the top 100 at 19, and then it's difficult to you have to learn how to manage yourself, and it's not that easy. Also, as for the Italian personality, in talking in general, of course, we tend to mature a little later. It's difficult to watch an Italian 18-year-old already with that mindset and with that. I mean, it's difficult. In fact, a lot of our players, but even talking about, for example, Flavia Pennetta in the past, got a lot of great results in their, for example, late 20s, even early 30s, for example. Probably I am exaggerating because he is the best example possible. But Fognini, who won a Masters title at 33. And talking about your first question, I mean, I don't know. I don't really like to make this kind of predictions because we always know that the last step is the most difficult one. Because as long as you have to improve your game, to put things in, and to work hard to improve your tennis, your mentality, you can for arrive like in the top 20, 15, even to break the top 10. But then you're going to need something else, in my opinion. Of course, if you are there, you can have the chance, and if you have the chance and then you're able to get the chance, then you became a Masters champion, a WTA 1000 champion, if not a Grand Slam champion, even if it's even more difficult. But it's easy to predict that a player is going to become a good player because you watch him, you watch that he has the skills, that he has the right mentality to be in the match. But then it becomes very, very, very difficult to predict if that last step missing. I still think that even if with some difficulties, I think that probably not in Rome, but talking in general, Sinner will have some chance. I don't know how many, but some chance here and there he can have some chance. For example, we saw this year in the Sunshine Double. Talking about the female players, it's a bit difficult. There are a lot of talented players, but as for the moment, I don't really see in them
making the next step.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, there's a reason why they've got. I think there's a reason why they've not quite broken through in the same way yet. I wasn't aware that Italians tend to mature later. It's a fascinating insight. I have a question because, okay, so I've obviously grown up in Britain, and we are fortunate that we're one of 4 nations that hosts a major title. Which would you say is a bigger deal for an Italian player, winning a major or winning at home in Rome? Because Rome is the biggest title that's hosted, is the Italian Open officially. Winning in front of a home crowd, maybe not which is bigger, but would they put that achievement on the same level? I think that's a fairer question.
I still think that a Grand Slam is a Grand Slam, because you really write your name in the highest books of tennis history, and it's a total different thing. Yeah, I think that a Grand Slam is a Grand Slam. Of course, if you, I mean, being in the Rome final, playing again in front of the home crowd, for example, as it happened, Sara Errani went very, very deep in 2014. But still, I think that for all the meaning, I mean, Rome, even as a master, has a really, really long tradition, but the Grand Slam tennis is something unique, in my opinion, and it plays different for me. When I'm thinking about, I mean, I didn't really have the experience, because no Italian player won in Rome in the recent years, but for how we remember, for example, Schiavone and Pennetta, which are our 2 Italian Grand Slam champions, I don't think it would have been totally the same if they, for example, Pennetta not the US Open but in Rome. Yes, of course, but not in the same way.
Okay, I just wanted to get that insight from someone from a country that doesn't have necessarily that obsession with winning the one tournament, because in Britain we don't there's almost I think Emma Raducanu is a little bit different, but if I think about 10 years ago, Andy Murray won the US Open on the men's side, and the question was, great, when's he going to win Wimbledon? We haven't had that same question with Raducanu over here. Possibly because of the problems she's faced since, but just to give you a bit of an insight of where I'm coming from, of what's different, and that's a really, really interesting insight to me. I guess one other thing I was gonna to kind of say is, actually, I don't know, you probably know your tennis history really well, but there was one point sort of before the Open era kind of started where there was actually Rome, the Italian Open, was regarded as the 5th major, and there were some questions as to whether they should make it a major at one point, because it was held in that high regard. When Rod Laver won his 2 Grand Slams, his 2 Canada Grand Slams, I remember reading a report from the time he won in '69 saying his '62 one was more impressive because he won the Italian Open as well. So there's a little bit of tennis history in there that I'm not sure you're aware of. Maybe if we were having this conversation 50, 60 years ago, it would be a very different answer.
Probably yes. No, for sure, talking about all the tournament without considering the Grand Slams, of course, this is the one that have the biggest reputation for us Italians, because of course to watch an Italian player, male, female, but even when we had the doubles pair, Errani and Vinci winning the doubles, it was very nice for us. The stadium were really wanted to see them, and so I think that for example, if you're going to ask about every other 1000 event, And for us, the idea of an Italian winning Rome is of course very, very special. For example, in these years we have the ATP finals,
Yes.
but it's not the same. It's not the
No,
same, in my opinion,
it wasn't
because
the same when it was in
you know
London
that
for us.
yeah, also we know that it's like temporary. The city may change, and of course now there's a lot to talk about the Italian players who can make it to Turin because of the chance to see them playing there. But it's not really the same of the idea of winning in Rome, or even for all the media hype. A lot of, for example, if you are an Italian media, to get the accreditation for the Italian Open is basically impossible. It's super difficult because there are a lot of television there with their I don't know, with their I don't want to say studios because they bring it with them. I don't know how to say. There's a lot of noise about that event. Also the fact that it's on clay in May, when people want to go out because the nice season, talking about the weather, not this year but in general.
Rome
So
had the Wimbledon weather this year.
Let's pray for a good Wimbledon with the weather. I was of course telling you that we treat it as like the fifth slam in terms of how much people want some Italian players to win there, but still I think that Grand are something even more because of the way, also the pride for the people to say an Italian is a Grand Slam champion.
Indeed.
Especially in the men's side, because the last one was in 1976. And
Adriana Panatta.
Yeah, that one. And so especially in the men's side right now, because in the women's we had some recently. So
Adriana Panatta, I believe, is the only man to have beaten Bjorn Borg at Roland Garros.
It can be.
It's him and one. Yeah, I think he is. I think there might be one other Roland Garros that Borg might have pulled out of. I don't know if he actually lost a match, but bit like Nadal, essentially. Like, I don't know what it was, but Panatta beat Borg at his first Roland Garros, and then he beat him in '76 when he won the title. So I don't know what it was about that matchup. Obviously, I'm not fair enough with the history to have watched either of them play, but you're getting WTA and history here.
We should go back to watch
to the glory days. I think maybe there's probably other tennis matches we should go back to watch, but I think it's more exciting to look forward, as we've been doing a little bit today. I think I thank you for everyone for bearing with us for another 10-minute talking tennis tangent. Try saying that 3 times fast. So I think we can safely say that obviously British tennis is in a good place. Alexandrova is one to watch. Berlin is going to be really important, but particularly focusing on Rybakina, Sabalenka, Jabeur and how they're going to do. And Birmingham is going to be all about how Venus Williams does. Is that a good summary, Mario?
Yeah, it's perfect summary. I mean, this year WTA tennis is giving a lot. We could make endless episodes to talk about WTA tennis this year. A lot of things happening. Talking about the top ranked player, but not only them. It's going to be hopefully also a great second part of the year.
I think it will be. I'm very excited. I mean, if I'm looking forward, I think this year's US Open is going to be an almighty showdown between this year's WTA Big Three, because that's going to be a place they all feel comfortable. New York, Swiatek, defending champion, Sabalenka, 2-time semi-finalist, Rybakina should like it there. I think, and actually, it's the Indian Wells champion. And the last few years, the Indian Wells has been held in spring. their winner's gone on to win the US Open.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm not. The trends are meant to be broken, but it gives her hope. So we would. I'm very interested to see how that shows down, and then obviously WTA finals is going to be special as well, especially with the caliber of players we're having in the top 10, top 8. But in the immediate future, it's all about Wimbledon and that grass court build up. And we're going to be all over that WTA grass court build up in this week. We've got John in Berlin, and then Jamie and I are tag teaming in Birmingham. So he's been there today. I'm going there for the next 2 days. Jamie will be back on Friday, and I'm covering finals weekend. I'm going to be honest with you all. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're going to give it a try. Any tips, Mario?
Let's see if you make Venus Williams to lift the trophy.
Oh, that would be a special moment to watch. When was the last time Venus won a WTA title? Was that 20?
Oh God.
We're gonna look it up now. Quick, who could Google this fastest?
Yeah, because I to be honest, I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Wikipedia, where are you? Maybe John's going to get there before either of us. All right, let's have a look. Grand Slams, significant finals.
2016. Am I right? 2016.
2016 would sound right to me. You've got there first, I think. Yeah, Taiwan Open. The Taiwan Open in February 2016. That's the last time she won a WTA title. She's lost her last 4 finals. The most recent being the WTA finals in Singapore when she lost to Wozniacki. But there you go. So 2016 is the last time. It's 43-year-old, 7 years after winning her last WTA title. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, look, if I'm going to be honest, when I did the TNS prediction, I predicted Alina Svitolina to win, and she lost to Linda Fruhvirtova 6-love, 6-2. So, I also predicted Donna Vekic to win Nottingham. I'm not exactly the person to talk to about predictions.
No, as I show, I've done well in the men's prediction for the Roland Garros.
You did. You ran away with it pretty much. You were out in the lead from the start, and you made the smart decision to back Djokovic for that one. And I also won the WTA bracket, technically, I suppose. Again, Swiatek kind of carried me on that one. But there's a reason why the two of us host the shows that we do.
Exactly.
Definitely. Obviously, Talking Tennis peeps. Keep an eye out for future episodes. We'll have a WTA weekly, sort of around Sunday, to kind of wrap up what actually did happen in Berlin and Birmingham, and look ahead to Bad Homburg and the WTA 500 in Eastbourne, which is obviously an interesting event. I know I kind of jumped. It's a classic. It's interestingly, what I find is, unless you're born champion at Wimbledon, like Serena Williams or Ash Barty, typically you just need to play one match at Eastbourne. The champion at Wimbledon's played at least one match at Eastbourne as their warm-up. It's obviously very, very good Wimbledon preparation. Although the last time anyone won an Eastbourne Wimbledon double was 1998, Jana Novotná. And the only other two women to have done it are Graf never won it, Evert and Navratilova. So I don't necessarily think you want to win Eastbourne, but you want to win a couple of matches there as your prep.
Yeah.
And that is also where we will see Jessica Pegula returning to the tour.
Finally.
Yes. Ghost will be so pleased to see her back. Max is suggesting a Venus Williams and Frances Tiafoe mixed doubles at Wimbledon. All I would say is yes, please.
Same, honestly. Would be amazing. but I mean, probably I don't know. Tiafoe would say yes.
Anyone would say yes to playing mixed doubles with
Yeah,
Venus
me
Williams.
too, Venus.
Come on. Hey, I got back on court for the first time in a year,
Can
and
we ask
I
for
did
a
all
wild
right.
card?
Yeah.
Even because we get it thanks to her. So
Why not? Let's do it. Let's put the petition out. What could go wrong? Mary, you going to be doing an ATP weekly show? Next week?
Yesterday I missed the show. This week I've done only the WTA.
I meant next week to wrap up Haller and Queens.
Great.
Are you going to do that?
Okay, let's do this. Yeah,
let's do this. We're going to do this. Okay. He's committed. He's committed, people. But it's been absolutely wonderful having Mario on to talk WTA tennis. I can tell he's been bursting to do this for ages, and he's finally got all this women's tennis chat out of him, out of his system.
Thank you. It's been very, very nice.
All right. Well, we keep an eye on the channel for lots of content coming from Berlin and Birmingham. Gosh, saying those two names together is a challenge. And subscribe to get us to 2249, and maybe someone else subscribe to get us to 2250. And I will be back. I'll be back through the course of the week with updates from Birmingham, with my next power ranking for the WTA, and then for WTA Weekly. So if you're sick of my face on this channel, I am so sorry. But it's been nice to be on with you all. So have a good evening, and keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.